Okay, hi again, Caroline. So last thing we were going to cover is the email functionality that we talked about the other day in library. So I'm currently on my iPad, which, as you can see, I also have this little bubble next to my mail application telling me that there's 1,149 unread emails. That's not anything to be concerned about in terms of memory or storage or anything relating to this device. The only reason that you'd want to get rid of that bubble is to either check if legitimate new emails have come in, or if the bubble itself is annoying you, because it can be frustrating to have, 16,000 something emails that's claiming you haven't read when actually you've seen them all, and you just want to hear about new ones. So heading into the Mail app, the way to get rid of that is to head into the inbox that is causing that. So you can see there's 1,149 next to my inbox. You might have several inboxes, depending on if you set up different accounts, and you might have to go through this process for each one, but hopefully it'll just be the single one. So we'll head in there, and same as we did the other day, you want to hit edit in the top left here, and then select all, which will select every message in the mailbox. And then you can do these sort of massive grouped actions on all emails at once rather than going to all of them individually. So you could move them to different folders by selecting the move button down at the bottom. Or you could select individual ones that you want to send to the archive, which, if you'll remember, we discussed is essentially a long-term storage space for it. So if you had concert tickets sitting in your inbox that you wanted to put aside, essentially, so that you come back to them in 6 months to go to said concert, then you might put them in the archive and then get them at a later date, rather than having to scroll or search through all of your emails after receiving that email up to the concert. So it's essentially just a box off to the side where you can put things and it won't delete them. Not that they'll get deleted anyway, but they will if you put them in the bin. The bin gets cleared after 30 days, I believe, whereas the archive never gets cleared. So 3 options essentially there. You can keep them in the inbox, in which you'll have to filter through all the emails that come in after that point. You can put them in the archive, in which case only archived emails that you've designated as such will be in that folder. Or you can bin them, which means they're essentially gone. There's ways to recover them within that 30 days, but you don't necessarily want to be going through that process rather than just keeping the email or placing it in the archive. So now that we're here, you want to select all emails, bearing in mind this to get rid of that little bubble notification. You want to select all those emails, hit mark, and then you can put them in junk, which you do with spam emails. You can mark them as read, which is what we're looking to do, or you can flag them, and flagging is essentially just a way of saying this is an important email. And if I pause this for a second and back out, you can see that there is there's a flagged folder, third from the top there, that you can throw it back to later. So that's another option in terms of long-term storage. But if you simply just want to get rid of that bubble, select all, mark as read, and then hopefully, now this isn't something you have to worry about, it will basically need to reboot the application to see that those have been read. Just going to try that again quickly because it seems to have I've actually just set up this email account to give this demonstration. So there's a lot of emails that are being pulled down even as I'm marking them as read, which is why I have a ridiculous number here. But one thing I want to clarify on that, because I know you're concerned about it slowing down the device or taking up storage, is that's not a concern with emails. This bubble notification is its entire purpose is just to tell you that that's how many emails your device doesn't think you've seen yet, but they won't be stored anywhere on the device. They'll be stored in an Apple server somewhere in Norway or India or somewhere across the world where they have these massive data warehouses. It's not going to do anything to your device personally. That's just Apple trying to be helpful and telling you that we don't think you've seen these emails yet. It has absolutely no impact on the performance of the device. So the only reason you'd want to get rid of that is if you wanted it to be a more up-to-date statistic on the mail. So unfortunately, that's not currently updated for me. It'll take a while to update, but if you set this refreshing wheel, that's basically the computer trying to process the massive action that I've just done in marking all those emails. Not massive in terms of impacts, but in terms of processing power. So I'm probably going to cut this off here because this will take a while to update, but eventually that will go to 0 and this little bubble notification will disappear until I get more emails in. But again, just to reiterate, it's a bit of a laborious process to go through to mark every one of your emails as read, especially when you've got spam coming in. So I'd say it's not really something you necessarily need to be concerned about doing unless that bubble is really annoying you, which I know it does for some users. But no bearing on the quality of the device or its performance. It's just a helpful UI feature that they include, so you don't need to be concerned about it slowing the iPad down in any way. And I think that's just about everything that I wanted to cover looking at my list. So I hope this is helpful. I'm going to pass along some documents like manuals that Apple produce on this stuff. Oh, look, the bubble's gone. Magic. So it did work. But I'll pass along some of the Apple supporting documentation because, quite frankly, they've probably already written it far better than I could, and I'll try and source some useful videos that help summarize some of this in a more general way, and maybe capture some things, some other features that you'd be interested in utilizing. So I hope all this is helpful. Please don't hesitate to get in touch with Fiona if you're having any further trouble. I said this to her, but another option that we can do is having a remote support session, which wouldn't necessarily even mean that you have to come into the library. I could do it remotely and essentially just talk you through what I'm doing via your screen. So that's totally an option and totally fine with me. Just let Fiona know if you have any issues or if you struggle to understand any of this. I'll be happy to cover it again.